This week I want to share with you something you likely have never thought about, but it's how unlicensed private investigators get caught. Hi, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, which is premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. Basically, there's three ways that an unlicensed private investigator can be caught. The first way is that the state agency that's in charge of licensing will see someone operating without a license, will start an investigation themselves and pursue that person as an unlicensed investigator. This may surprise you, but that is honestly, in my view, the least likely way an unlicensed private investigator is going to get caught. My personal opinion, my experience over years of having a private investigator's license, and my very jaded opinion is that the state agency in charge of issuing licenses is not out looking for unlicensed investigators in order to protect the public. Where I've seen state agency doing their most work is looking at existing agencies and seeing if they're doing something wrong, and specifically with paperwork. And I can tell you some horror stories about agencies that have been fined, and the fines and penalties grow exponentially. Sometimes it's as small. I know one guy who ran an agency and he did security services as well. But I believe it was the date of hire for all of his private security personnel, and I think he had 300 of them at the time. The date of hire on the forms, he put down day, month, and year, and it was supposed to be year, month, day. Well, the state licensing agency looked at that and said, well, my goodness, you have 300 violations, and that's $110 per violation, plus it accrues every 3 days that you're not in compliance. So he had 300 security professionals. Immediately he got dinged for. They went back and they said, well, you haven't done this for a year and a half, and just hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines and penalties levied against him for having the date in the wrong order. Not even the wrong date, but the date in the wrong order. That seems to me very disingenuous. There seems to be no interest in the public's well-being for something like that. This was a good guy, a good agency. He trained his people. Just a money grab by the state. Fortunately, he was able to settle this for a much, much smaller fine and penalty. But still, that was not the state looking out for the citizens. That was not the state looking for unlicensed investigators or unlicensed security providers. The second way unlicensed private investigators are discovered is because their clients are unhappy with the results they get, and they start to squawk and look for a way out of paying. Again, been in this business for years, don't really see that happening much, but I think it's much more likely that that's going to happen than that the state's going to bust you out. But think about it, if you're operating without a license, now you got a problem, because every potential client that you've worked for, unlicensed, all they got to do is say, gee golly, I wonder if the state would be interested in this. Maybe you can cut me a discount on the price. And you've either worked for free or you're getting busted. The third and absolutely most likely way you're going to get called out as an unlicensed private investigator is that the other detectives in your area are going to notice you and notify the state. Look, no legitimate person out there is going to claim that this is an easy way to make money. It may be kind of fun. It may be what your aptitude is in. You may be, as I've talked about in other videos, a natural born investigator. You got it in your blood. You got to do it. I totally relate. That was me 100%. But don't let anybody fool you that this is an easy way to make money. You got to build up your clients, and you can get to a point where you're comfortable. But this is not something where in 30 days or 6 months you're going to be making a good living. That's for sure. And what that means is if other investigators see that you're operating or you're soliciting clients, and believe me, they're paying attention. They know. They're on the web. They're looking. They've got alerts and updates coming to them automatically for certain keywords. In the old days, you just, every year, you plopped open the new phone book, you ran your finger down, and you said, well, who's this guy? Here we are well into the 21st century. You don't got to wait a year for the phone book to come out to look for the new guy. They pop up automatically. And think about the catch-22 for the person who's trying to work unlicensed. He needs to get the word out that he's there and available for the work, but he's got to stay under the radar of all the other investigators. That's the most likely way they're going to get called out. What does this mean for you? Number one, don't work without a license. It's just not worth it. And if you're busted for offering investigative services without a license, that may be a disqualifier for you to ever get your license in your state. If you're really dying for the experience, you put in the applications, work for another detective agency, go work for a retailer in loss prevention, and work your way into an investigative position. Every major bank, all major companies have an investigative division. They may not call it that, but check it out. Try to get into a job like that to build your experience and then enter this industry legitimately. Look, it really comes down to what I share with you every single week, and that is do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.